Good morning. Better.
Morning. Good morning.
Somebody asked me where the gavel was. The gavel's still here. By the way, you know, we go for quality. The gavel says Supreme Court of the United States.
It's stolen from.
These pieces of wood, 12 inches long, these are called Tai Chi rulers. You use them in Tai Chi exercises. Typically you only have one, but they also make really good things to get people's attention. So let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Welcome to meeting number 247 of TNG. I'm already over. So good to see you. Thank you for coming out on Valentine's Day.
Where's my candy?
They don't know.
Oh, today's
Maybe you're giving a night out. No? Okay. Let's just run through what we're going to be doing. Agenda. Oh, first of all, there's no, Mr. Turner, no new members, no new. Okay, so if we have any visitors here today, they didn't sign the law, so we won't go through what we call the welcome or the embarrassment. So the next thing would be, what are we doing today? The main presentation is going to be about Finder. And some of you may groan. It's good. I figured somebody would groan and say, oh, we know how to use the Finder. The Finder is one of these things. Well, it's the program you use the most often on your Mac. It's the one that you use every time you're on your Macintosh computer. They've added things to the Finder over time. So you may think you know what all those little things are in the Finder, but actually you don't. When I was prepping for the main presentation, putting it together, I was going like, oh, hey, that's a feature I didn't know you could do. So that's going to be the main presentation. The Novice Clinic is going to be moderated by Bill Howe today. Bill's busy setting that up right now. I don't think they have a special topic, but as always, the Novice group is for people who are inquisitive and they have questions, and maybe they're just not, their questions are going to take a little bit of time to go over, and they're not comfortable doing it during our usual help desk. Okay, and Las Vegas rules apply. Whatever happens in the novice group stays in the novice group. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. Anybody have a problem with that?
What did you say?
Anybody have a problem with the agenda?
No.
One of the items that we are exploring is a sound system to use for the meetings. I don't know whether it's my voice is getting softer or some of our hearing is less as adept as it used to be, but we're looking at maybe doing a wireless mic system with some speakers in the back of the room. The church does have sound equipment, but we're looking mainly at just purchasing a wireless mic operation. So I think that'll be helpful, and we'll be getting that done real soon now. Okay.
Before you do that,
Why, you have a wireless mic?
I may.
Huh?
He said he may.
I may.
You may. Okay. It's not in her office, is
No.
it?
Oh. Well, your voice does drop.
Oh, we need to get focused on topic. All right, so the next thing would be news. What has happened relating to Apple and Apple products that you need to know, things that have happened since the last meeting. The major thing that you need to know is that there's a newer version of Yosemite. So they came out with an update for Yosemite. So it's now at 10.10.2. And they also came out with an update that was supposed to fix things in the iPhone operating system, which most people refer to it as iOS. And that is now at 8.1.3, if I remember correctly, and if I'm wrong, Bill, well, we seem to have some rough edges here and we need to get them smoothed off. I recommend both of them that you apply to your computers. If you are running Yosemite already and you've had some little rough edges going on with your computer, instead of just doing the regular update to 10.2, I would recommend that you use the combo update. So you would go to the Apple website, you would go to the support section of the Apple website, and you would then look for the combo update. And what that does is it reinstalls things so that you're 100%, rather than just adding to what's there. It'll actually reinstall some things. It's not that big of a download, if I remember correctly. Okay. Okay, I'm just noticing you're up here, she's back there.
She's not paying attention, she's doing something else.
I'm just checking, because I already asked her, just want to make sure the story's checked.
Bill,
Yeah.
if you've already updated your Yosemite, can you still go to the combo and do it again?
Yes. In fact, that's one of the troubleshooting techniques that I use. Rather than completely installing it from a recovery partition, I'll just apply the Yosemite combo update.
Thank you.
Okay. Other than that, let's see, Flash has had some updates, and Java has had some updates. I mean, that's the usual stuff. There also were some updates from Apple for the iTunes program on the Mac, and they had updates for what they call their iWork suite, which is Pages, Numbers, Keynote, and I'm missing the other one. No, it's only the three, that's right. Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. And last but not least, Microsoft Office 2008 had an update that you should apply. And Microsoft Office for the Mac 2011 had updates, primarily with Outlook and with PowerPoint, if I remember. Okay? Okay. So with that said, anybody have anything they want to add to what's going on in terms of the Apple world? Going once, going twice.
Cars. The rumor is that Apple's working on a car.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I put a post on my Facebook page. I found this picture of this huge car that was built out of Legos, and they had some 20-somethings with their Rugrats running around trying to put the Legos on, and I posted that saying, yeah, Tim, secret photo, I'm going to reveal it. Tim Cook has Apple computers building cars. If you recall, early last year, early in 2014, Apple got into a consortium with a company called TomTom. Okay. There was another two partners in that deal, a small company called Ford, okay, and another company called Chrysler. Okay. So I'm betting that they're either doing navigation systems for the in-dash or further incorporating Apple technology into automobiles, or they're getting ready to start doing the autonomous car stuff, such as Google's been doing. Yes,
Well,
John Treinhardt.
I've got a new focus, and so I've been following the software, the sync software and stuff that they have. And in my car, they have Microsoft kind of operating system, if you will. But I just recently heard that Ford dumped Microsoft is out there working. That it kills me to see Microsoft written across my dashboard. Anyway,
George, you take a screwdriver and peel that all
other
out.
people.
Yeah.
Randy will work on
Hairdryer first.
Okay, Ray Ratchford.
Compared to this, I've been looking at new cars, and Chevy has a car called the Trax.
Mhm.
And as I went through the option list, it's got everything except the Navi system.
Mhm.
But it has Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
LTE.
Mhm.
And apparently, you're gonna be able, on that car, use your iPad or your iPhone and have a Navi system. And also, many of the cars with the larger screen on the dash, I don't know what else to call it. I think it's a 7-inch screen with Honda.
Mhm.
Your iPhone will activate GPS on that too. So we're getting Apple more involved, and I think that's a good thing.
So this is something that, I don't know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's just something you need to be aware of, that your automotive technology, the computer technology, the mobile technology, the automotive companies are going like, why are we trying to reinvent this stuff? There's companies already out there who can provide us with a better solution. And so I would anticipate that you are going to see more and more of a meshing of your mobile technology, your iPads, your iPod touches, and your iPhones being able to directly talk to your car. Not just for the typical stuff you can do now, where you press the button on the dash and it answers your phone, or you press the button on the dash and it asks who you want to call. Stuff more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this is new or not. I just read somewhere that Apple took some of the money that they have so much and bought a huge solar farm.
Oh, okay. Apple has been building solar-powered data centers for 8 years now. What Apple did, and it was the week after they announced that they were the first 700 billion valued company, so they are the most valuable company on the planet Earth ever in terms of US dollars. Okay, so it was right after that. And somebody made a snotty comment to Tim Cook on, I think it was the Wall Street Journal, one of the reporters, about, Apple's done now. I mean, there's no way you can grow anymore. And he just looked at this person like, are you on drugs? and he said that he felt that there were unbelievable amounts of growth capable in current markets that they're already in, let alone new emerging markets that they were going into. And he, sometimes you can curse yourself by saying something like this, but he said that, he was confident that Apple was going to continue to grow. And then the snarky reporter made the comment, well, do you think it'll be a $1 trillion company within 5 years? And Tim Cook said that is well within the realm of possibility. So that would be the first $1 trillion company. Okay. So let's see, where did we leave off? We were talking about automotive technology. We were still doing news items. And finish your thought. What was the? Okay. You were saying they had bought this plant and they were going to redo it. This is the.
Bought a new one.
No, they bought the facility for a manufacturer that went bankrupt. This is the company that was going to make sapphire glass for the front of the iPhones.
It's also,
But
it's a big company,
it's a huge facility, okay? And they've gone bankrupt, okay? And what they're doing is, they've bought the building, they've bought the land, and the former employees at that facility have been hired. And they're going to turn it into a data center, a data warehouse. And it will be solar powered.
Well, what they bought is already a lot of solar power somewhere.
He's talking
it's-
about the company First Solar. I think he's talking about the company First Solar that they just worked up a big deal with.
It's all solar panels and stuff.
Yeah, but they've been doing that for, the one that's out in North Carolina, that's 90% of the power for that data facility is from the solar panels. And they're doing, the cutesy stuff where you got these things that look like trees in the parking lot, and they're covered with solar cells on the top, and you park underneath. And then they discovered that nobody was driving electric cars, so they don't need to come in to plug, so they changed it. But Apple's been doing that for quite a few years, as has Google. Okay, a lot of people don't know is that Google has spent somewhere in the order of $8 billion looking at developing foldable, printable solar cells. The idea, if you've ever seen a web press, you know, like a newspaper being printed, you know, so you got this piece of paper that's, you know, way long, wider than my arms, and it's a web, you know, think of a large toilet paper roll that's this high and it's wider than that, and it's got paper on it. Well, instead of it putting ink on, working on technology where they could print solar cells on it, and it would be flexible. Okay. So instead of these glass panels that are rigid, you've got something that's flexible, which means you can put it all sorts of places. Google also is the company that has been involved with General Electric, and I'm trying to remember the name of the roof tile maker. It'll come to me when I'm home. You know, when I'm home 15 minutes after I get home, I'll remember the name. But they've been making roofing shingles that you slap them together just like you would regular roofing shingles, but they're solar cells.
Georgia Pacific?
Yeah, I think it is Georgia Pacific. Thank you. Okay, so there's all of this stuff coming down the line. Yes?
One of the things with the cars I heard about is that they're worried about hackers hacking into the control system and stopping your car on the highway, for example. Do you know anything, any comments on that? Is that just way out, or is that a real danger? I mean, once these cars begin to really get more of this stuff on them.
It all depends on whether they're working off of server technology or whether they're autonomous. And if they're autonomous, how much they're allowed to talk to the outside world. Okay. So what I would do, I don't have the answer, but what I would do is I'd talk to some of the people I know who used to work at the base, you know, old crows and black sparrow, English sparrows, black sparrows, I forget.
Black crow.
Huh?
Black crow.
Yeah. Yeah, old crows are the ones that do the electronic countermeasures.
Right.
And the English sparrows are the ones that try to undo what the... Anyway, I talked to them about what they do with aircraft systems. All right. I know we have several people in here that are either current Air Force or former Air Force, but you have a lot of electronics on airplanes today. So how is it that we have these planes that have autopilots? Well, do we have to worry about people hacking into them? So I think they're thinking about this enough, especially after all the stuff with the global predator, you know, where the uplinks of the global predators were not encrypted. So, you know, the bad guys with their Toshiba satellite laptops and their Wi-Fi cards were able to see what the global predators were seeing. So, you know, like they're saying, hey, you know, George, you better go in that hut now. They won't put you in the hut because there may be kids in there. Head to the nearest box. So, yeah. Things, but until you've got an autonomous car that you're actually using, it's not something that you worry about.
No, I just was
They're
curious
already
about
stopping cars, locking cars,
the police, they said.
unlocking
There was
cars.
something on the news recently that demonstrated it.
Yeah, I saw it too.
But it's not clear what kind of internet connectivity it has.
Yeah, I think if you do not allow your cell phone to be connected to your car, if you do not allow that, then they can't.
So, just to pull it all together, last month I started telling you about Internet of Things and how we need to sort of start thinking about this, and is it a good thing or a bad thing, what we want to have connected. Do we really want our refrigerator fussing at us through our phone while we're at the grocery store saying, you know, I'm awfully low on jalapeno sauce. And at the same time, your car is whining about, hey, you know, I need an oil change. We're already over at Kroger's. We could go to the Jiffy Lube, and I need air in the left front tire. Well, you know,
Meanwhile, they're all participating in a dial of service attack.
Yeah, okay. So the metaphor, the paradigm that I like to use is think back to when you were a parent with small children. Okay. You know, we love them, but we don't necessarily like them. What would it be like if all of the appliances in your house were like little kids wanting your attention? Okay, so just think
At
about
the same time.
it. Internet of Things. All right, anybody else have anything in the way of news items that they'd like to share with the other members? Going once, going twice? Okay. Then I'm going to say, let's move on to the next topic, which would be help desk. If people.
Spring loaded there.
Before that, for sale and for wanted. So we've got some people that have some stuff they brought in to sell. So where's, Dan, you brought in stuff that you're,
There's stuff over on the free desk, first of all, that,
Okay.
so a 10100 router and then a wireless access point. That's, and then I've still got a couple of graphics cards, PCI graphics cards that would go into a Pro Mac Pro.
okay. Okay. And those are for sale.
These are for some.
Okay. Stuff on the table is for free. Did anybody else bring stuff in that they put on the table that was for sale? Yes.
Yeah, I've got some RAM that I took out of the G5, DDR RAM, two 512K
Meg.
meg, and two 128s, and someone can use it to make me an offer.
Okay, so it's Brad Norman up at the front. It's RAM for a G5 computer, the long sticks, two 512s and two 128K, 128 megabyte sticks. So if you're interested in those, talk to Brad at the break. Best offer. Other things are on the table. Who brought in the other things that are on the table?
I brought in one stack over there behind the donuts of old Mac Weeks. I don't know if anybody ever got that or read that, but
Okay.
it's kind of humorous. They're free if anybody wants them. If not, we'll throw them away.
And I'm seeing some books and other stuff that's over on the table. Who brought that in? Okay. Anyway, I'm assuming that the other stuff that's on that table is freebies. Okay. For somebody to use, take and use if they want. All right. Now, anybody else for sale or for wanted? Going once, going twice. Okay, help desk. We'll start in the back. The gentleman in the red jacket, Alton Copper.
You got it.
Let me see if it's in your red
I
behind you.
I always like to start with an engineer.
Mine has to do with AirPlay. AirPlay was working okay in both my MacBook Pro and my iMac and my iPad Mini here before the latest Yosemite for the OS X and the iOS 8 upgrades. And subsequent to that, and of course I used a Apple TV to project it up on my big screen.
Okay, and you updated your Apple TV also, correct?
Yes, I did.
So we
And
got-
it works, and just go ahead and finish my sentence, it
Sure.
works fine with the iPad.
Yeah.
It's got AirPlay, it works through the Apple TV, projects it beautifully up on the screen, does a good job, so that part of it's fine.
Okay.
What's weird is I cannot find the AirPlay icon up on the menu bar like it's supposed to be on the desktop of my MacBook Pro or my iMac. I've not been able to find
So,
it.
well, the way we're going to answer this question,
Not AirDrop, AirPlay.
yeah, okay, we're going to have Mark Georges look at the screen with it and point to it. Typically, when you're looking for AirPlay, I'm zooming in here. So this is my menu bar, and I've got a whole bunch of different stuff up there. This one right here that I'm pointing at looks like a rectangle with a pyramid underneath it. That's AirPlay. So if there are devices like Apple TVs or other things they can play on, they would show up when I click on this. I don't have the Apple TV, the club's Apple TV set. So AirPlay is when you've got a computer and you want what you're looking at to be on the big screen. And the big screen TV is hooked up to an Apple TV. These are called TV set boxes. Sometimes they're called internet set boxes. I think I've got the terminology right. Roku makes one, Google makes one, Western Digital makes some. There's all sorts of them. Okay, now I'm going to go to you.
I may have to come see you about this, but I'm still having trouble with Flash, okay? If I load the newest version of Flash, then I go on iTunes, it says plug in default or something, it won't work. Okay, so I've uninstalled Flash, the newest version. I had to do something for oral surgeon, so all that thing, so I put Flash back on. But I tried getting Google Chrome, like you said, and I have 10.6.8. But it will circle, and you have a little half circle keeps going around. Nothing down the sits there, whatever. But I may have to come see you and see things.
The thing you remember when it's a Flash issue, you've got three things involved. One, did the folks at Macromedia, aka Adobe, did they screw something up in Flash? Okay. Then the next thing is, in your internet plugin folder, are the old internet plugins for Flash, are they still there? You know, along with the new ones?
But they're uninstalled.
Well, you see, Adobe, I think these people need to learn how to do installers, where it takes the old stuff off and puts the new stuff on. Sometimes they don't do that. Sometimes the old stuff gets left in there. So if you've got multiple plugins for Flash, the web browser will go like, roll the dice, which one should we use this time? Okay. And that's an actual folder in your library folder that's within your home folder. Okay. The one that they hid,
Not the ones in the downloads that have several different.
no, that's,
Plugins is per user.
okay. And then last but not least, the assumption is the website where they've got this video, that they did their stuff right. Okay. And sometimes the problem is on their end, that they have some small missing piece of what they're supposed to have up there. And that's why it doesn't, it spins but never brings in. Yes, Phil House.
He's using 10.6.8, which can cause a problem because the newest version you can possibly use for 10.6.8 may not be compatible with what they're using. You know, if you're using 10.10.2, there's a whole different version of Flash, and it's like using an old internet browser. It's just not going to work all the way.
But Chrome says as long as you, I tried, because it has it, the link says as long as.
Chrome has
I
it
can't
built
get it downloaded even, and it said it can be downloaded and used with 10.6, and I have 10.6.8.
There's also another version of, it's called Chromium. This is the actual open source web browser, Chromium, the one that Google has put their stuff into. And that one also has Flash. It seems to work built into it. They seem to, things just seem to work better in that than it does in Google. But that's because Google tries to protect you from pernicious, evil websites that are trying to do something that they shouldn't do, where Chromium doesn't do that security stuff. Okay.
There's one called Maxon also that has Flash built in that works real well for me. MAXTHON.
Send me a link on that. How old does your system, can your system be to have that work?
I don't know. I keep mine up to date all the time.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That one I hadn't heard about. Yes, Ed Rodable.
I would like some help, somebody at the break anyway, on how to use tabs in Yosemite. I'm particularly on my Fidelity account, but I don't know whether it's Mac or Fidelity. But I think I'm using tabs,
Okay.
and they don't stay there, they're gone.
Okay.
They're there, but they're gone.
Yes,
See a
you're
little
doing
thing
tab
up in the
browser.
top, you can click and say, make a tab,
Okay.
new tab,
Yeah.
they don't stay there.
Okay, tab browser. Okay.
And I have what I thought was the latest version
Okay.
of, Yosemite.
You might think, you know, novice group. They might be able to,
If I get the first question,
yeah. Yeah, if you get the first question. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go to Dick.
I've only been a member for a couple of months, and I know you've talked about this subject, I'm sure, in the past. I've been running Snow Leopard for 5 years. It does everything that I needed to do. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the advantages and disadvantages of upgrading to a newer operation.
Okay. All right. Now, several of the topics that we've already had, people talked about, oh, well, this version of Flash doesn't work that well with Snow Leopard and this with that. Okay. So, first thing, Apple no longer supports Snow Leopard. Okay. That support ended with the end of 2014. So Apple no longer supports Snow Leopard. That means that they no longer try to polish that operating system anymore. They no longer release security updates for that operating system. Okay. So it's like Windows XP. Microsoft no longer supports Windows XP. You no longer get security updates. You no longer get updates to the operating system. So that's the first disadvantage when you're running an older operating system. The next disadvantage to running an older operating system is there may be some new wonderful program that you want to use, but it doesn't run in Snow Leopard. The oldest operating system that the Apple Store apps support is Lion, which is Mac OS 10.7, the one right after Snow Leopard. So if you had some program that was really neat, maybe it's a Mahjong game, or maybe it's a high-end database widget that you want to use, and you're running Snow Leopard, and they'll tell you, no, you can't download this, you need to have at least Lion to run it. So that's another disadvantage of running an older operating system. Okay, now let's talk about disadvantages of updates. And I'm going to continue to use the example of Snow Leopard. Snow Leopard allows you to run programs that used to run on the PowerPC computers. So those are the G3s, the G4, the G5 computers. Yosemite, the latest and greatest, and Lion and Mountain Lion, the ones that came before Yosemite, and Mavericks, don't let you run those programs. So a disadvantage of going to a newer operating system may be that you can't run a program that you use every day, that you really enjoy, that puts quality into your life. So, personal situation, at home, I've got a Mac Mini, it's running Snow Leopard. Why is it running Snow Leopard? Because my wife has a bridge program, you know, the card game bridge, that won't run in Lion, but it runs in Snow Leopard. She also has a Mahjong, you know, click on the tile game, that doesn't run, and then there's another one. I think it's Texas Hold'em, okay, it's poker, something for poker. Okay, so that can be the disadvantage of going to a newer operating system, that your programs that you were using don't work anymore. You'll find that with Microsoft products, you'll find it with Adobe products. Okay, so those are the two things to look at. Last but not least, do you want to learn something new? Because the newer versions of the operating system are going to have new features in them, and they're going to drop older features out. If you're used to having colored folders, you can you put the color labels on your folders, which you can do in Snow Leopard. If you're in Lion, you can't do it anymore. If you're in Mountain Lion, you can't do it anymore. It's a feature that a lot of people really liked and used, but it got dropped. Okay, so that's the advantage and the disadvantage. And then last but not least, how fast is your computer? Just because they say your computer can run Windows 8, I'm using a Microsoft operating system. Just because they say it can run Windows 8, it doesn't mean that it's not going to be incredibly annoying slow. So Apple's usually a little bit better about that, but there are some computers that should not be running Mavericks or Yosemite, even though physically they can run them. If you're going to do that, you got to add something like put a larger hard drive in it or put more RAM in it. Okay, so that's the advantages, disadvantages. Okay.
There's also hardware that won't even run anything higher.
Correct. But then you don't have a choice. I'm talking about if you've got equipment that can run it, but you haven't bothered to update. I'm seeing a lot of folks that are in Snow Leopard, and they're going, I'm like 4 operating systems behind. I don't know if I like being in the legacy land. Okay, so those are the things that you sort of toss in the air when you're making these decisions.
Let me say what I have done, and it worked for me.
Okay.
I bought an external hard drive.
Okay.
FAT, Herrick, and I carbon copied, cloned my Snow Leopard system onto that. Okay. And then I went to Yosemite. Now, I had some things, including some hardware that wouldn't run because the company went bankrupt or went out of business and they didn't support the drivers and on and on. But it still ran under Snow Leopard. And I found that worked out very good, because all you have to do then is boot up at boot time, do the option boot, boot it to the old system, do the, you maybe only do it once every 6 months or something, but run the old system for the things that you really want.
That's what's called a dual boot or multi-boot computer. So when I'm using the Mac Mini that's in the family room, the one that's running Snow Leopard, I plug an external hard drive into it that's got its own operating system. And I'm running Yosemite when I'm using that machine. And it's using the stuff on that hard drive, not the stuff on the internal hard drive. I know not to mess with my wife's. Okay, I'm going to go to Rich Gray, and then we'll start doing
For a while there, I heard they were selling Snow Leopard server real cheap, and I understand that's the only version that's amenable or legitimate to run in a virtual machine. Do you know if they're still selling Snow Leopard server? There was a time when it was on sale real cheap.
The only way I know you could buy it would be through the Apple Store. You're not going to find it on the Apple Store.
Yeah.
Okay. If I go and buy the Apple Store, I'm talking about the online Apple Store. If I go into the Apple Store up at the green and I say, I want to buy Snow Leopard server, they're going to say, I'm sorry, sir, we don't sell that anymore.
Yeah.
Or talk to me.
So, but there are ways to, rather than having multiple hard drives, where you pick which one you're going to boot from, another way to go, and this is sort of maybe over the top, but I'll do it anyway. It's called virtualization. Virtualization. That's where I have a program that allows me to run other operating systems on my Mac. So this one right now only has Yosemite on it, Mac OS 10.10. It's got Windows 8 on it, 8.1, excuse me, and it's got Windows 7 on it, and I've got Windows XP on it. I took the Linux stuff off because I wasn't using it on the laptop. Now there, I can switch which operating system I'm using, but then I'm not a normal person. Okay, so anyway, so that's called virtualization. That's another way to go if you can't make up your mind. So that's it. Okay, did I take care of the people in the back? Otherwise, I'm going to start up with the front row. Yes?
All right, I have two quick questions. One was with Apple Mail, and I wondered, can you color code things in the menu so you can see them better? And can you make the letters bigger on the file folders? I have macular degeneration. I can use my magnifier and see them, but I just wondered if there's a way to mark some of them in color so I can spot them better.
Okay, that mark them with color stuff is what was called labels. You would label the file, and you had different colors associated with different labels. They took that out in line, so you can't do that anymore.
I'm talking about mail now when I'm doing it.
In mail?
This is, I'm talking about in mail, my mail program.
No,
No, okay.
not in Apple Mail. There are other programs you could do that with. For example, Microsoft Outlook, you can do all sorts of things with your different emails coming in to make them, to highlight, what they are.
And I can't make the letters bigger in the list of folders. I can make them bigger
If you go into mail settings, you can change the size of things in
Yeah,
the
I've done that.
sidebar and that.
Oh, in the sidebar, I got it so the email.
There is a way you could have when you're in your mail picker window, where you're just seeing one line per email, but you haven't opened them up yet. There is a way where you can have those appear in different colors.
Well, I've got those bigger in color. That's not the problem. It's
Okay.
the list on the left side that drives me crazy.
That's not, no.
Now, my one other question is, we're in Yosemite, right? Yeah, Yosemite. And, you have this default screen come up with the National Geographic pictures when it's just going to rest.
Okay.
Well, I set it to show pictures out of my iPhoto, and it does it for a while, and then it goes back to the National Geographic. And we can't figure out why it just goes back. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Okay.
It's not a big deal, it's just an interesting anomaly.
When you were in your screensaver, or is this desktop or screensaver?
Screensaver.
Screensaver. When you're in your screensaver settings, so you're in the system preferences, desktop screensaver, you're on the screensaver side. Were you pointing it at an iPhoto album or at a folder that had pictures in it?
iPhoto folder.
Okay, iPhoto folder.
Really? Because everything is all, I don't have
Okay.
to.
What I find or like an event in iPhoto, what I find works best is if I create an iPhoto, so I've got iPhoto, the photograph program running. I create what's called an iPhoto album. And I call it, like something I'll recognize is the one that I want to use for the pictures for my screensaver. And then I would add pictures in iPhoto. I'm taking pictures that are in iPhoto, and I would add them to that iPhoto album. Okay. Then I would close out iPhoto. Then go to your screensaver settings and look for the iPhoto album and have it do it that way.
Well, it's just,
Doesn't stay?
it's just an interesting thing.
Okay. And are you using multiple user accounts or just one user account? Same one?
Just mine. He's tried it and I've tried it. It's just, I thought you might have some thoughts on it. It might be a glitch in the thing.
Send me an email to remind me. So what I call a placeholder email. And I'll play with it on, you're running a Mac Mini or not?
That's a mini.
It's a
A
mini.
Mini?
It's a
Okay,
mini.
and you're running Yosemite and you got Yosemite 10.10.2.
I do. I
Okay.
have the newest
Because
one.
I got a Mac Mini. I'll play with it and see if it does it to me. Okay. Because it could be, I've noticed there are more rough edges in Yosemite
That's what I
than
was
I had
thinking.
seen
Yeah.
in Lion or Mountain Lion. Okay.
Can I
Along those lines,
Yes.
I will leave my machine running, which is an iMac
Mm-hmm.
with up-to-date.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to sit there and do something for a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's supposed to keep running.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back the next day and find that the time up in the toolbar
Mm-hmm.
has frozen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so the computer keeps working, but the time is still yesterday at 10:01.
Okay.
The only way I get out of it is reboot.
Okay. Have you tried force quitting the Finder?
No.
tried force quitting the Finder. So that would indicate to me that, it might be the Finder.
You're gonna tell us all about it today, right?
Is there any way you could redo your thumbprint? My thumbprint doesn't seem to have
Yes.
taken very well.
I'll take care of it.
Okay,
Okay,
somebody else on it.
okay, I'm gonna go to Bill Mears, and then I'm gonna do the rest of the front. How are we doing for time?
Thank you.
Okay, this actually could have been news, because today is like the 10th anniversary of YouTube, which
Yeah.
is rather amazing, but there's a new add-on for Firefox for downloading YouTube videos, and it works so easily I couldn't believe it. It just came out in January. So if anybody needs to download a YouTube video to your computer, you can get that by the add-ons.
And we're not talking about streaming, we're talking about being actually able to download the
Download it.
file.
The
Okay.
MP4 file.
The
And
folks at YouTube don't want you to do that.
no, it works great. I couldn't believe it.
Okay, no, I'm just saying.
You know.
Okay. All right, and I'll go to Dick, and then we're going to go to Ray.
I'll go last. Make me last.
See, Ray?
Thank you.
You're beloved.
I'll make
You're
this quick.
respected. Okay, Ray Ratchford in the front row.
You helped me with this, so you know part of what's going on. I've been having trouble with my computer, getting slow and getting grunchy. You helped me with it, improved things, but
Yes.
I still was not satisfied, so I wound up taking it to the Green.
Okay.
They were very, very kind and decided that my machine was too old for the winter of 2007 as per age. He suggested to me we move back 1 or 2 operating systems. Tried to load it and couldn't. So he worked with it a little bit, improved it enough that I'm happy for the time being. But he did say, and he's the third person within Apple to tell me this, that operating systems can outrun the design of the hardware in the computer. So that's just something for us to look into. The second thing is, humorous maybe, a friend of mine and I were in the car, we're driving along, it's a nice day, bright sunshiny day, and I had him holding my laptop. And he was saying, I can't get it to do what it should. I said, well, I slowed down, I said, let me look at it quick. So he showed it to me, and it was blank. I said, well, what'd you do, turn it off? Well, let's see. No, it's doing just fine. Well, let me look at it again. Well, it's blank. Polarized sunglasses.
I've had that happen.
That'll actually interfere with some electronically
I just want
generated.
to, so one of the things to be aware of, we no longer have Mac Depot or MacTown as a local resource that we can use. I've heard this from numerous people now. When I say numerous, that means more than 25 people. That the folks at the Apple Store at the Green, basically, if it's older than 2010, they're not really going to work on it. So they won't do repair work, et cetera, et cetera. So just keep that in mind. The folks at Micro Center down in Cincinnati, they are not an Apple store. They are a Micro Center. They have a large store in Cincinnati, another large store in Columbus. They will service legacy machines, and they seem to have no problem getting parts for them. So just something to keep in mind if you don't want to buy that new machine.
And JD there also really knows all the machines and can answer questions from way back. All the
Okay.
machines.
Back in the Apple.
Yeah, in the Apple Store.
I've got Mark Georges telling me I'm done with time. Okay. Was it a good one, Dick?
Well, it's a bug that I can't, nobody can help me. It has to do with my computer, my iMac, and my keyboard. I have a Logitech keyboard,
Okay.
solar keyboard, and the number pad works fine when I'm logged in under my account. When I log out and log in under my wife's account, the number pad doesn't work.
Okay. At the break,
And I can't
come
turn
up
it on
and
or
talk
off.
to me, because I think I know what it is.
Okay?
Okay, with that said, it is now time for the raffle. Main presentation, we're going to be doing some stuff about the Finder. I'm not going to do a regular PowerPoint. I'm going to use the PowerPoint presentation just to sort of do the overview. I'm going to try and get through that very quickly. Then we're going to go into using the computer that's up here, which is a MacBook Pro 2011, to actually demonstrate some of these things in Finder. Yeah. So, with that said, just a reminder, Finder is the program that you use the most on your Mac. And that's why it's important. That's why it's important to know how to use it. It can save you time and effort. It can let you do things more quickly than the way you're doing it now. Okay, so it's an efficiency thing, it's a productivity thing, it's less clicks, got the same result, maybe even got a better result. Okay. So with that said, let me get the raffle sheet off of the screen. I need to do one thing just real quick here. Just wanted to make sure I had something turned on that was turned off. Alrighty. So here we go. PowerPoint. Finder basics. Come on. There we go. Okay, Finder basics. My name is William Herrick. I'm the current president and one of the founders of the Mac Group. Our friend the Finder, okay, he's been flattened and de-bolded now. He's not as brilliant and vibrant as he used to be, but this little image icon has been with us since the days of Mac OS 8 and 9, so it's a familiar image. Okay, so what is the Finder? The Finder is the application that helps you navigate through all the files and folders on your Mac. The Finder lets you browse your apps, that's applications, your disks, your files and folders in a whole bunch of different ways. And you can use the Finder to organize these items the way you want. You can also use the Finder to search for items, delete files you no longer want, and a whole bunch of other stuff, like burning optical disks, compressing files into zip files, a whole bunch of things. Okay. What we're going to cover. Finder toolbar, Finder sidebar. And in the toolbar, we're going to go through the view buttons, the arrange button, the action button, the share button, edit tags, and search. You're probably going like, huh? What are some of those things? I don't know what some of those things are. Well, you know what? Until I did the prep for this presentation, there's stuff in there I didn't know was in there. And I consider myself to be almost an expert with this stuff. So let's start with the Finder toolbar and the view buttons. All right, so you've got a Finder window open. Anybody know the quickest way to open a Finder window on your Mac nowadays?
Down in the dock.
Yeah,
What?
in the dock, all the way over in the far left, you got the little Finder icon. You click on that, it'll open a Finder window. All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about are these buttons here. Just to give you a general overview, On this part of the window, you got your back and forward button, you know, because Finder is a browser. Before we had an internet, we had file browsers instead of internet browsers. Finder is a file browser. Windows Explorer on a PC is a file browser. When all of a sudden we had this thing called the internet, and there's all this stuff out there, and the first problem we ran into once they did the World Wide Web, when we were doing Gopher and Interslip, we didn't have these problems of finding stuff. But once they started with World Wide Web on the internet, there was all this stuff out there. I mean, lots of stuff. I'm talking like 1994, there was lots of stuff out there. Now there's even more stuff out there. Well, the first problem when you have lots of stuff is being able to find things. So they came up with programs called web browsers. They were browsing the internet using the World Wide Web. When those people started those programs up, they looked at the file browsers as to what features you would put in. So the back and forward button, that's been in file browsers since almost the very, very beginning. Okay, so we've got these 4 buttons here. The first one is the icon view. If your things show up like this, you're in icon view. Now, in terms of the metaphor here, this thing on the top is called the toolbar. I'm not talking about the menu bar that's all the way at the top of the screen. I'm talking about the top of every Finder window. There's a toolbar. It may be hidden, but it's still there. This part of the Finder window is called the sidebar. Okay? And we can put other things in there. This part of the window is the display field. So, think of this as being a television. Okay, you're looking at the TV, and when you click on stuff over here, you're changing the channel. So, if I click on Documents in the sidebar, it shows me what's on the Documents folder. Just like when I change from Channel 2 to Channel 22, same TV screen, but instead of it showing me what's on Channel 2, it shows me the programming on Channel 22. Display, channel selection. Views. This is how it shows you the information that's in that folder, in that location. Icons, boom, 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 big picture. At the bottom of this folder, excuse me, at the bottom of the window, if I'm in icon view, there'll be a little slider where I can make the icons bigger or smaller. Okay? When we do the demo, I'll show you that one. Okay, next one. So now we're right next to where icon view. Now we've got this other icon button, list view. And it's a little square and it's just a whole bunch of lines. Just like you're looking at an old style list on a columnar pad. You know, you got a legal pad and you made a list, item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4. So here's the same stuff. In this case, we're looking at the applications folder. But instead of it showing them as individual icons, it's displaying it as a list. Now, what's one of the things we do with lists all the time? We sort them. Okay? Right beneath the toolbar, we've got this area. I've got the word name there, and over there it's got date modified. If I want to sort this stuff, instead of from A to Z, that's the order it's in now, I want it to be from Z to A, I click on that little triangle. Right now it's pointing up. Click on it, it'll point down. Now it's going to show me that stuff organized from Z to A. Let's say I don't care about the name. I'm looking for when was this file modified. I would click not on the title bar, but right underneath, excuse me, not on the toolbar, but right underneath on the title, date modified. Now it's going to sort the stuff in that list by date modified, and I can have the newest at the top or the oldest at the top. And there's other things that you can have show up in a list view, like what kind of file it is, when it was added to the computer, when it was last modified, what kind of tags it's got. It's a whole bunch of different things. Okay, so that's list view. Right next to it is another button. So there's 4 of them here. That one, it's showing what looks like a rectangle next to a rectangle, next to a rectangle, next to a rectangle. This is called column view. The mental picture, the mind picture I like to use for this, think about those really cute Russian Matryoshka dolls, where you open one doll, and inside that doll there's another one, and inside that there's another one, and inside that there's another one. When you click icon view, it's going to show you what's in the thing you've got currently selected, and then for the thing you've got selected in that column, what's inside that thing. So the way I would interpret this particular display is we've got the applications folder selected, and within the applications folder in this column is all of the stuff that's in there. So it's a way of looking to where the actual path is, to where that thing actually is. So if I clicked on this Adobe folder, this column, the third column, is going to show me what's in that Adobe folder that's inside the application folder. Okay. Now, one other way to look at stuff. Cover flow. That's that 4th button. That one, it shows a little rectangle and it's got a whole bunch of vertical lines on either side of it. With cover flow, up in this part of the display window, it's going to show you what the thing looks like if it was open. And in this part, it's a list view. So right now, that picture that's being displayed is this file, girls.jpg. So, 4 different ways to look at stuff. Why do we have 4 different ways to look at stuff? Because we don't always have the same type of information when we're looking for something. All right, how many of you have got digital cameras? Okay, see if hands. All right, have you looked at what your camera names these photos? Okay, it'll be image, blah, 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 or DM, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no way, no how are you going to know on the basis of the name of that photo that it's Aunt Inga at the pyramids at Christmas, right? Okay. But if you saw what the photo actually looks like when it's open, you'd go, oh, hey, that's not Aunt Inga. That's Sally and Thelma, after their car went off the cliff, now they're on bicycles. Okay, Thelma and Louise, excuse me. Now, you've got a list view down here. You can use your arrow keys to go up and down that list. As you do it, it's going to display these things up above. And there's a dragger right in here. If you drag that down, you can make that part of the Finder window a bigger or smaller piece of the display area. So, let's just go back for a second here. Icon view. We use icon view when we know what the thing's going to look like. Typically, it's going to be a computer program. So like, I know that's what the dictionary looks like, the dictionary program, and I know that's what the App Store looks like, and DVD player, dashboard. Okay, I know those icons. I see it. I don't have to have the name underneath. I know what program it is. So I use icon view most of the time in my applications folder. I use list view if there's a lot of stuff there, and I want to put some sort of structure on it. let's say I don't have the typical, 20 or 30 programs that come with the Mac, but I've added all of this other stuff. Well, if I'm in list view, I can sort those icons. Remember, if you're in icon view, they're not necessarily sorted, they're just there. It's like a deck of cards that you just sort of threw the deck of cards out on the table. Well, you recognize the king of spades, a jack of clubs, but they're not necessarily in any order. If I'm in list view, I can say, hey, sort them by name, sort them by size, sort them by this. And the other thing is, if I'm in list view and I don't have anything selected, if I press a letter on my keyboard, let's say I want to scroll through all these screens. Well, put it in list view, click on the date added field and say, hey, show me the stuff I just brought in today. Okay, and that way, boom, you're finding things fast. So column view, you use that when you know where the thing is, but you don't necessarily know what it looks like and you don't know what it's called. Okay, example. This is hypothetical, it would never happen in the real world. It's January, February, you're starting to get together all the stuff to do federal income tax, right? Yeah. Okay. And you go, oh, gee, maybe I better go look at the stuff that we submitted last year, okay? It might help. And so you go, oh, yeah, I remember I created a folder and I put all that 2013 tax stuff in it and I put it into the documents folder, but I don't really remember too much more about that. Okay, so what you would do is go to column view, click on documents. This first column is going to show you all of the things that are in documents. You scroll up and down until you find the folder that looks like you might have named it, like IRS, or, oh my God, they charged me too much. You click on that, and then this column will show you what's in it. Yes, Rod?
As you're going through this, just like you said, you want to change something. Do you have the opportunity to click on the particular item? Does that give you a drop down that you can rename it?
Oh, rename it? Real simple. All you would do is, if you want to rename a file, click on the file or folder, press your return key. That unlocks the name. Then you can rename it to whatever you want. When you're finished, press the return key again.
But it doesn't change the extension.
And it won't change the extension. It leaves the extension alone. Okay, but remember, it's like open paren, close paren, return, edit, return to close it. Okay, return to unlock it, return to lock it. Yeah?
How do you get it from list mode to sort by category, subcategory, etc.?
Okay, different button. I'll show you that one. Okay? If I want to just not permanently have things, permanent and temporary are relative terms. Okay, so when I say permanent, I don't mean from now till the end of time. When I say permanent, I mean, yeah, for a couple days you want to keep something a certain way. Where temporary is like, yeah, okay, I look at it and I'm done with it. I don't need to have it that way. All right. If you wanted to sort things by kind, if I'm in list view, I would have list kind be one of the things that's on the title section of the Finder window, and then I would just be clicking, up or down arrow to sort them, like all PDFs, all music documents. But there's another way to do that too. But the thing to keep in mind here is that different views you use when you have different information about what you're looking for. So here, column, if you know where the thing is, but you don't know what it's called and you don't know what it looks like. The fourth view, which is cover flow. You use cover flow when you don't know anything about the file other than what it would look like if you had it open. So typically you're going to use cover flow for videos and for pictures. Okay, I don't want to use the word image. just pictures. So, somebody gives you a CD. It's loaded with pictures from the family reunion. All right. If I'm in icon view, all I'm going to see is that it's, you know, it's a picture, but I'm going to have to double click it and open it in something to be able to see what it is. If I use cover flow, I can select, you know, have that CD open in a folder, and I can, down here, just be holding down my up and down arrows and just whomp on through 200, 300 images real quick. And then when I see Aunt Inga at the pyramids, you know, I go, hey, yeah, I think that's it. Then I can look at it in a program like iPhoto or whatever and see the actual metadata that's associated with the photo. And I'll go, close. It was Aunt Inga at the pyramids, but it was Thanksgiving. I want that Christmas photo of her. Okay. And yes, I did have a great Aunt Inga. And yes, she did go to the pyramids. But I don't have a photo of her there. Okay, so 4 different views. Icon view, you use that when you know what the thing looks like. And it's usually an application program. Or something like your desktop. Your desktop is inherently an icon view. And you're looking for a PowerPoint file versus a Microsoft Word file. But you don't have a whole lot of any of them. Well, you know what a PowerPoint file looks like. It looks different. It's got a slightly different icon than the Word doc. List view, when you got tons of stuff, you may know the name of it, you may know when it was created, you may know when it was modified. You want to organize that stuff up and sort them by those things. Column view, when you know where the thing is, but you don't know what the name is, you don't know what it looks like, you don't know anything about it except where it would be, like a downloads folder. And last but not least, column view, cover flow for pictures and movies. You don't know what the name of the thing is, you don't know when it was created, you don't know any of that, but you know, if you had it open, you'd know what it looked like. Yes, sir?
In cover flow, can you look at a document? And see a...
Some documents, yes, some documents, no. Okay, if it's a PDF, yes. If it's an Excel spreadsheet, depends on what version of Excel created.
It's going to look generic though.
Okay.
You'll tell them.
Okay. So,
Word documents will open up when you see them. Word documents will open up in that particular mode you're in.
depends on whether it was created on a Mac or a PC.
Oh,
And
okay.
it depends on what version of Office was used.
I see.
So like if you've got Office 2000, or you've got a file that was made in Microsoft Works, okay, it may not show up in cover flow. If your Office 2008, 2010, yeah, you'll have those previews show up. Okay, any other questions about the views?
Are you going to talk about how you customize the sidebar?
Yeah. Okay. So, ready to move on? Yes, Rich.
Where is the view data stored? I've got a encrypted DMG that I put passwords and
Yep.
other stuff in. And when I open that thing, it always comes up in icon mode
Yeah.
as opposed to say list mode. It doesn't seem to remember changes.
Okay.
Is that
If
some-
it's okay, so you've got a DMG file which is and it's an encrypted DMG.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the metadata is inside it.
Huh. So it should change when I change my view. Shouldn't it remember that where you left it last, or does it?
Okay. Give me a little more info. Do we have the DMG file open, or is the DMG
When I
file
open the
closed?
DMG and Finder displays the contents,
Yeah.
it always starts in icon mode. And should that stay? Should it remember what
Okay.
mode you were looking at a
Think
directory in?
of it not as a DMG, but as a compact disc. When you burn the compact disc, what view were you using? when you created the DMG, what view were you using?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, icon mode.
Yeah, so it's not as.
It's read-write, so I mean, shouldn't it behave
Yeah, but,
like?
well, okay, is it a DMG that allows you to modify?
Modify, yeah. Yeah, probably update things in it and put new things in it. Okay, I don't want to take.
It's
time.
gonna look at what view you had when you created that DMG, not what view it had when you last closed it.
Okay.
Okay, so what you need to do is create a new DMG,
Move it
okay, in the, okay, moving right along. Okay, now we're gonna look at some other buttons tags that are up there. So view is over here, and they even put the little word view underneath it, so you know that those 4 buttons are for your view. Then we've got arrange, action, share, and edit tags. Those are the next 4 that are up there. Now I'm using Yosemite. So if you're looking at this in Mountain, if you're looking on your computer using Mountain Lion or Lion, some of this stuff is not going to be there. Some of the share stuff, some of the edit tag stuff, but the arrange stuff will be there. Okay, so this arrange, right now, it says selection none. Okay, that means it's not going to try and arrange the things within the view that you selected in any particular way. But the choices that you have are arrange things by name, by kind, by application, by date opened, by date added, by date modified, by date created, by size, or by tags. So if I selected by application, it's going to take the PDFs that I created with preview and put them in one part of the window, and the PDFs that were created with Acrobat Distiller in another part. In other words, it's going to sort out this stuff by what program the Mac thinks owns the document. If I have it sorted by name, well, then it's going to keep everything organized by name. And as I change my views, like, for example, if I'm in icon view and I have a range set for name, all of those icons will be organized alphabetically. So they'll go across, A, B, C, D, E, and then come over G, E, F, G, H, I. Keep everything nice and neat and clean and organized. So somebody who's got a little bit of OCD doesn't wince when they open your Finder windows. Okay, we'll be playing with this in a little bit. So that's the arrange menu. The next one is the action button. Action button. This is a biggie. From the action button, I can tell it to create a new folder. I can tell it to move something to the trash. I can tell it to get info of that thing. I can tell it to compress a folder or compress a thing. When I tell it to compress a thing, it creates a zip archive and puts those things in it. I can burn things to disk. I can duplicate files. I can make aliases, quick local folder, copy folder, all sorts of different things that are in here. Now, if all you've got is a laptop with a 15-inch screen, it's not that big of a deal to go up to the menu bar and to say, move to trash, or go up to the menu bar to say copy or edit or whatever. If you've got an iMac with a 20-inch screen, not even the biggest, not 27-inch, but just a 20-inch screen, going up to the menu bar a lot, wow, all of a sudden you're going to notice, you're losing your bilateral symmetry. All of a sudden that arm that you use for your mouse is getting more of a workout than the other. So what that means is, from any window in Finder that you have open, you can get to those menu bar commands. So if that window is over here, rather than have to drag that file all the way down to the trash can in the lower right, you can just click on it in the Finder window, go to your action button, which is a gear, and tell it move it to the trash.
need to do is right-click on the file, and you get the same choices.
Yeah, you can do that. Some people are not good with mice.
Multiple or something, and you want them all to go in the trash, so then just move all, click and then
Okay.
we'll do that.
So his question is, I've got 4 things that I want to throw in the trash, and they're all in the same window. I hold down my command key, the old Apple key, click on the things that I want to select, then I go to my action button and say move to trash, and those 4 things get moved to the trash. Yeah. Yeah.
If you use your zip file, the space you save, does it go into the total tally available?
Yeah.
What was the question? Does it go into what?
Now, the other thing that's important to know is that when you select something like new folder, it's going to create it in the window where the action button was. Because that's the other thing that I do. I do the command shift N, create a new folder from the keyboard, and I go, oh crap, I didn't mean to save it there. Or I go, oh crap, where did it put it? If I use the action button, oh, the new folder is in the window that I've got right in front of me that I just did the action button from. Yeah, Vic.
What does duplicate do as opposed to burning the folder to a disk?
Okay. I've got a word processing document that's a lease document. Okay? Pretend that I'm back in landlord hell. Okay? And I have a lease, a boilerplate document that I use to fill out. Okay. And sometimes I'll change little things in the document. I keep one as my original, and when I want to modify it, I say duplicate it. So now I've got the original and copy of. I open the copy, I modify that. That way I don't screw up my original. Because the way I do templates, I've got, like, let's say we're in subsection 2. I may have all the different verbiage that I might want to use with somebody, but you don't use all of it for a tenant. So when I've opened the duplicate, I just select that, delete, select, delete. Yeah, okay, I want that one, I want that one, all the rest of it can go. Because it's so much easier to, it's like, yeah, no. I'm going to turn 65 next year. I'm, on the down slope. I want to use my time as efficiently as possible.
Down slope.
Okay.
No, it's a
So
new
again,
one.
that action button, really will make, no. I'm okay with my mortality. Okay, I got people doing violins. All right, the next one over, and this is going to be another biggie if you email a lot of files to people. Okay, this is the share button, and it's a rectangle with an arrow coming out of it. All right, let's pretend I've got a presentation, it's a PowerPoint, and I want to share that with someone. Okay, I click on the file, I go up to the share menu, and it says, okay, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to mail it? Do you want to send this as an attachment to an instant message? Do you want to airdrop it to another machine that's near you? Or more? So if I click on that more, you're going to get stuff like Dropbox, Microsoft OneNote, Evernote, all these sorts of Google Drive, all these sort of cloud services and note-taking programs that I can move that thing into. In this case, let's say I want to mail it. Notice down here it's showing me the last 2 people that I've emailed stuff to. So like if I'm sending a lot of stuff to family members, I don't have to look it up again. So what the process would be is select the file that you want to send to somebody, go to share, click on mail. Then it's going to launch whatever you've got as your default mail program, open up a new message, just like a postcard. You just bought a postcard, you got a brand new postcard, never been filled out. It's already put the file in it as an attachment. All you got to do is say, who does it go to? Who's it from? Put in the subject line, hit return. Send it off. Okay, so Finder talks to Mail, Mail brings up the, okay. You begin to see how this is so much easier than, I gotta launch the Mail program, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Okay, if you're doing webmail, this is not gonna help you much. Because you're not using an email client, you're using a web browser to talk to an email server. But it would be helpful if you're going to airdrop stuff or you want to put stuff in the Dropbox. Okay, so that's the share menu. Next to it, edit tags. T-A-G-S, not T-A-B-S. Tabs and tags in Finder and in browsers, web browsers. These are big topics. I'm not going to try and cover them today. Let's just say that some people think folders are old-fashioned and they don't believe in folders. They would rather just tag files. They don't want to file them into folders. So you could tag files like these are IRS documents for 2015. Create a tag, IRS 2015. Create another tag, IRS 2016. You tag the file. When you click on tags, it shows you only those files that have that tag. So that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Okay, so before I go into demo, are you interested to see how you would actually use this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Have I piqued your interest a little bit? Okay. Maybe you'll learn something new? Okay. Something that might save you a little time and effort? Okay. If you say yes to any of those, then you validated my short ephemeral existence.
Just a personal question.
Sure.
I noticed on that one where the two most recent emails or mailboxes, do you email yourself often?
I do email myself often. The reason why I email myself is the same reason why my wife emails herself. If you work for different organizations, the first thing they tell you is, well, you know, what we do is very special and confidential, and we don't want you using your own email addresses for any of our company communications. So you end up with an email account for that company or that university. So my wife has her email for Wright State, her email for UD, her email for Xavier, her email for Antioch. When she's interacting with students at a particular university, she has to use the email account for that university. But sometimes, okay, they send you something somehow, some way, you know, came into something else, so you have to send it to the appropriate email address so it's there, and then you can reply to it from that email. Okay, that's all.
I was expecting just a yes or no answer.
Get out of power. And let me quit. Yes, I emailed myself. All right. I'm logged into a MacBook Pro. I'm running Yosemite. I have a dock at the bottom. I want a Finder window. The easiest way to do that is to go down to the dock, click on Finder. Oh, hey, now I got a Finder window open. All right. If I click on the sidebar, up on the very top, you have a category called All My Files. For some people, this is a great way to look at the stuff on their Mac. I have a lot of stuff. All My Files is not going to cut it. Okay. That's because normal people will have maybe, 10,000, 12,000 things. Okay. I've got 52,000 old-time radio shows. I've got maybe 26,000 songs. Photographs, maybe 1,200, not that much with photographs. Emails, electronic books. I mean, we're pushing almost 1 million things that I would actually want to be able to find. So All My Files is not going to cut it for me. If you only got a little bit of stuff, it works great. Now notice right now, this first row says spreadsheets, and under that it says documents, and then it says PDF documents and presentations. Let's go to arrange and let's select by name. Oh, so now it's showing all my files. I'm in icon view, but it has them arranged by their name. This is that arrange button. Let's select by application. Oh, so now it's showing me these three things at the top. They belong to the archive utility. And the things underneath belong to the desktop image monitor. And then we've got something that belongs to iBooks. And under that, something that belongs to Keynote. So it's taking the same stuff, but it's organizing it by what computer program the Mac thinks owns that file. Okay. So I could have all these different word processing files. Some belong to Microsoft Word, some belong to TextEdit, some belong to this. Okay. So that's what that arrange comes in very handy. Or like, date last opened. All right, now think about it. It's going to show me the stuff that I opened, the latest the stuff at the top, which is a document called Raffle 2014. Oh, gee, when we were doing the raffle, that's the thing I had open. And right before that, previous 30 days, check firmware successfully.pdf. And then for 2014, these are the documents that I had open. And for 2013, these are the documents I had open. And for 2000, these are the documents I had open there. I had a lot of stuff going on in 2000 with this. Okay, so it's the same things, I'm just using the buttons to organize them differently. Okay, so that sidebar, right now it's on all my files. There's a new type of thing in the sidebar that's available. It's called iCloud Drive. Last month when we were doing iCloud troubleshooting, one of the things you can now do is store stuff in an iCloud storage locker. So it keeps a copy up there. So if I'm at home and I open my iMac and I say, take me to iCloud Drive, it's going to let me look at the stuff that's up there, open it, modify it, and then if I'm on a different machine, I can go into my iCloud Drive and be able to access that same stuff. Notice right now we're in icon view, looking at iCloud Drive. So now I'm going to click and do it in a list view. Oh, let's do it in a column view. I don't know what the thing is called. I don't know the date. I just know where it is. It's going to be in the Pages folder inside iCloud Drive. So now I can click on these things and look at them. Just sort of walk through them real quick. So, I don't know what it's called. I know, I'm clueless, but I know where it is.
Did you get to iCloud without having to put in your ID, your Apple ID?
The account already has all that stuff set up.
So when you go to iCloud in the Finder, boom, you're there. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that peculiar to Yosemite, or is that for any and all of the other?
iCloud Drive did not exist before Yosemite was released. It's a brand new feature of iCloud. Okay, let me just real quick do something, because I'm running short on time here. Okay, in my sidebar, I clicked on Desktop. Okay, someone had said they want to know how to add stuff to their sidebar. I'm going to show you how to do that. So here I am, I'm looking inside my user folder, which is on the Mac. And here's my home folder, William Herrick. These are other home folders for other users on this machine. And one of the files, one of the folders, is a thing called Share. This is the village green in the Mac. If you want a file to be available to other users on the machine, wife and husband, You don't want them in your account because they change your wallpaper or they change your dock. And they don't want you in their account because you change the wallpaper, you change the dock. But you've got documents that you need to share with each other. You put them in the shared folder. Okay. Now, it's really, really neat and convenient if I can drag that shared folder and put it in my sidebar. Now I can always just click there and it shows me what's in the shared folder.
On that machine.
On this machine, in any window the Finder has open. Okay, so it's not just for pulling stuff out, it's also for putting stuff in. Let's say I'm looking at my Documents folder. So I'm clicking on Documents in the sidebar, and I go, oh, yeah, there's this document, it's charleshelgeman.docx. I need to have that available if I'm logged in with a different username. So I'll drag it into my shared folder. Dragged it on top of shared in the sidebar, it puts that file into that folder.
Is it a copy of it, or does it take it from this place?
It puts the real thing there. It moved it.
It moved it,
Okay. So when I do my filing, you know, you get clutter. You know, you get all this stuff coming in your machine, and then you go, you know, I really need to get this stuff filed. I need to get these things put away. I'll do something like click on my desktop, put it in, by the way, this is that lower corner where I can make those icons smaller. So, and then I'll tell it to, arrange them by name. Okay, I'll make them just a little bit bigger. Okay, so let's say this thing which is on my desktop, I'm through with it. I really don't need it now, but I need to file it for later on. In my sidebar, I'll have the folders for the main things that I do. So, you know, if I've got 3 consulting companies, you know, the documents for that company go in there, and that company goes in there, and that company goes in there. All right, so let me pull up something else here real quick. Let's take something like, let's go to cover flow. So now I'm looking at my desktop in cover flow. And that's and I'm using my up and down keys to just sort of walk through these different things. And for example, that's in a PDF, Apple Mail. It's an electronic mail. And I'm looking for like a picture I can send my sister. Okay, here we go. That's a nice picture. Let me get in here just for a second here. Let me make it a little bit bigger. A little bit easier to see sometimes. So now I see the file. I see that it's a screenshot. Remember, screenshots, they all have the same name. Screenshot and then just a number. So it's sort of like with digital pictures. Let's say I want to mail that to my sister. I'd go, I've selected the file. I'd go to my share menu. I'd say mail. It's going to open my mail program. New message, put the file in there. All I got to do is address it to my sister. So there we go. And then I decide what I want to send. I'm going to send it as president of TMG. And then I give it a subject. You know, test picture. And then I click send.
Is there any use for shared files, Bill, if you got it on your laptop and nobody uses it but you?
Are you bipolar?
If you're the only person who uses it, and you don't have a multi-personality disorder, there's no real reason to do it.
Moving between your non-privileged self and your administrator account self.
Let's say, for example, you downloaded something to your standard user account, but you're about to update the firmware on your router, and you got to do it from an admin. Okay. In any case, I'm going to declare the presentation over. I didn't manage my time as well as I would want to, but I think you got a pretty good taste how you can get things done a little bit quicker in Finder than the traditional open to Finder windows, drag this from here to there. Okay. Yep. So, views. Icon, list, column, cover flow. Action button, that's a biggie. Homework assignment is to look at that action button and some of the things you can do in there. It's really neat, save a lot of time and effort. Arrange, that's sort of like icing on top of the cake. If you're uber organizational, you can do really neat things with that. Play with it, have some fun with it. And I'll see you next time.